Recently on my channel, I did a retrospective looking back at what Funko has done thus far with the Marvel Collector Corps box. I'm going to do the same thing here for the Legion of Collectors box, which of course focuses on DC Comics. So there will be spoilers, of course, for every box that they have done. And I'm going to speculate some on the next box. I don't have any spoilers for the next box, but I will touch upon that. So just keep that in mind as I go through this video. Now, for those of you that may be international viewers, I do want to point out, even though you may not be able to get a subscription to these boxes, and I'm referring to all of the subscription boxes, which does include Legion of Collectors, Collector Corps, Smuggler's Bounty, and I don't have it pictured here, but of course Disney Treasures is the latest one. You can get the individual pass boxes through different websites, including PopCultcha.com, which I'm not sponsored by, but I just know that this is a website that consistently sells pass exclusives, and also now they do have these boxes as well. So don't feel left out in the cold just because you can't get a subscription. You can go and check out the pass boxes. Do bear in mind though that when you go there, this is an Australian based website, so you will need to change the currency. I believe it's an option at the top of the screen to your own country so you can get an idea of what the pricing will be. So again, you do have the option to get these boxes, and from what I've seen, these are not restricted. They do have some figures that are restricted to North America. I didn't see any restrictions on these pass boxes though. So getting into the boxes here, starting off with, of course, the first one, Batman vs. Superman, which was definitely smart of them to do because there was still so much hype with the movie. They did go ahead and spoil the Pop figure, and this is something that they did, I believe, to start off each box. But now they've gotten pretty consistent with spoilers for each box, at least for the Pop figure, which we all know is the hot ticket item. Me personally, I'm okay with them doing the spoiler of the Pop figure because that helps me decide whether I'm going to get that particular box or not, because I don't sign up for a full year. I do go box by box, and sometimes I'll have auto renewal, but I will cancel my auto renewal if I'm just not feeling the next box coming up. So I think that spoilers overall can be a positive thing as far as a purchasing decisions are concerned. I do think that the company and some collectors can be careless with the spoilers though, because there are some people that genuinely want to be surprised by the Pop. So yeah, I would just think that Funko needs to make some changes with the way that they put those spoilers out there. They always need to give warnings. I don't think they should have the figure sitting right there when you go to one of their sites for these boxes. And you know, like I said, you know, us as collectors also, we have to be careful about spoilers. But overall, like I said, I think they can help you to save some money in the long run. As far as patches and pins are concerned, I'm going to pretty much say this for every Funko box. They're overdone at this point. They really have been played out for a while now. They need to mix it up. I know they want to include some smaller items to kind of round out the box, but a patch and pin every time is ridiculous. I am not a Boy Scout. I don't need to fill up a sash. I don't have a jean jacket, you know, to put these patches on. So it's just way overdone, and they need to mix it up. I mean, they could do things like lanyards and pin toppers and just, you know, other products that they have. Just mix it up, keep it interesting instead of the same old patch and pin every single time. Now, as far as their first box is concerned, the Pop figure definitely delivered. I still like that figure, still in my collection. I don't see myself ever getting rid of that. The t-shirt, I thought it had a nice design. It was clever with the face-off between Batman and Superman, like a boxing match or a wrestling match, and the Spanish writing was cool. Wasn't crazy about the color though. The Dwarves 2-pack, I know a lot of people weren't interested in that, and the value on it is extremely low now. I'm still a fan of it though, still have it in my collection. I do like the coloring of those figures, and they do have Pop figures and mystery minis with that same coloring, which I own as well, and I just like the look of them all together. So, oh, and I do want to touch, I'm not going to address every comic, but this particular comic was kind of awkward because you had to read it horizontally. It had a really funny layout to it. I was not a fan of that. It was a little too experimental for me. But overall, I felt like this was a decent start, if not mind-blowing, for the Legion of Collectors. I actually think their second box was stronger overall, and it didn't feature Batman in any way, which I think we all need a breather from Batman sometimes, because Funko, DC, Warner Brothers, they just completely overdo it when it comes to Batman. As a matter of fact, Warner Brothers is pretty much changing around their plans to really focus on Batman with their upcoming movies, which I think is a mistake, but we'll see how it pans out. Now, this particular box, though, it did focus on the TV series. I really like that Arrow t-shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts that they've done, and I actually still wear it sometimes. The Jay Garrick pop figure I thought was really well designed. Mine had a really solid paint job, but I don't like the way the character was handled on the TV series, so I ended up not keeping the pop figure. That's something that I actually base my decisions on whether or not to keep a pop figure. I actually do look at the way that the character was handled, because when I look at the pop figures, then I do think back to the storylines. So yeah, that actually does matter to me. And like I said, I'm not knocking the figure at all. Very well designed, good paint job on mine at least, but I just decided not to keep it. I did keep the Supergirl Rock Candy figure, which I think was a really nice inclusion, especially since this was around the time when Rock Candy had just started up. And you know, I think that it's a smart business decision for Funko to, you know, from time to time introduce new products within these boxes. It may be hit or miss for individuals, but that's the way it is with all of these boxes. So again, like I said, smart business move. Now, the Suicide Squad box, we all pretty much knew that Enchantress was going to be the pop figure because she had not shown up anywhere else. I pretty much feel the same way about the Enchantress figure that I feel about Jay Garrick. Very well designed pop figure, but I did not keep it because I just didn't like the way that she was handled in the movie, and I felt like she was the wrong choice of villain. But, you know, again, pretty good figure there. And no pun intended. But the spoiler cards that they put into these boxes, I want to address these quickly. I feel like it's a double-edged sword for the company because they do reveal some original designs sometimes, and a lot of times they, well, I won't say a lot of times, but there have been times when the original concepts actually seemed a lot cooler than what they ended up going with. And this is one of those cases where I like the original design for the t-shirt with the Joker playing the Suicide Squad like puppets on strings. I like that much more than what they went with, even though I still like the t-shirt that they actually put into the box, and I still wear that sometimes as well. But yeah, when they show these original ideas, sometimes they can be a little frustrating. For example, one thing I didn't mention with the Civil War box, I'll touch on it now since I'm addressing these cards. The Civil War box, I think they were originally thinking about possibly doing Falcon as Captain America. How amazing would that have been? And I know that that wasn't in the movie, but still, that would have been amazing. And that is still a pop figure I hope to see, you know. So, and as a matter of fact, they really should have done that for SDCC. That would have been awesome. But yeah, you know, with them showing some original ideas, it can be a little frustrating when they're cooler than what they go with. The action figures in this box, I actually do like them. I think they're much better than their reaction figures. They're more highly detailed and everything. The packaging does need work though, because I actually hung mine up on the wall, and where the packaging is hole punch doesn't really work out. It leaves the figure leaning, so I had to kind of play around with that. But yeah, you know, the action figures are cool. I just think they need to work on the packaging. And then the cover for the comic, I actually did like. I do like that pop art style of Harley Quinn. Now, I'm putting these two boxes here together to address together for a reason. So we had the Women of DC and then also DC Legacy. It seems like thus far, overall, the Legion of Collectors has geared towards classic designs, you know, classic type items, which in a way it's okay, but at the same time, I feel like they need to start being more modern with things, because constantly focusing on classic designs and classic type of items, it just makes the box feel dated. And it definitely, when you put it in comparison with Collector Core, which is very modern, it just makes Legion of Collectors, and it makes DC look like it's like behind the times. So I think they do need to start veering more towards the modern. Now, saying that though, I did like the design of Hulk Girl and Plastic Man. Plastic Man was definitely a nice surprise. I did not think they'd be able to pull off a really interesting design for him, and they really did prove me wrong there, and I still have that figure. Really do like it. Hulk Girl I didn't hang on to. That's just because, again, I didn't like the I've never really been a fan of that character, and also I feel like the paint jobs with Hulk Girl were not the greatest. You know, quality control definitely needs to step up at Funko. Something else that these boxes have in common is some very dull t-shirts, and I still feel like Funko, when it comes to female characters, they too often veer towards some very dull t-shirts. And I was talking about the cards before, the spoiler cards. If you go back and you look at the spoiler card for the Women of Power box, the Collector Core box, they actually had some colorful designs in mind with female heroes from Marvel. And then they ended up going with that very dull Spider-Gwen t-shirt. So yeah, they have got to start giving us colorful t-shirts of the female characters and stop assuming, because I mean, this is still my theory on it, but I think they still assume that men will not be willing to wear those shirts, but I just don't buy that. Also, like I was saying, with these classic ideals that they have, okay, in the Women of DC box, they gave us that Wonder Woman action figure with the invisible jet, which was kind of okay, because I know not everybody has room for the Pop ride or even the Dwarves ride. So I guess that was kind of okay as an option. To me, it just felt a little too throwback for me. So actually, from the Women of DC box, I didn't keep any of that except for the patch and pin, and that's only because it was easy to put into a shadow box, which a friend did for me. But yeah, I really wasn't happy with that box overall. I wouldn't say that it was terrible, but not for me. And then with the DC Legacy box, which I did some speculation on, I thought they could have done a lot of interesting things there, but all that I ended up keeping was the Pop figure, and then patch and pin, of course. You know, I got that around here somewhere. But I did not like that old style shirt. I thought it was dull, like I said. And then the salt and pepper shakers, I just don't like those. I really don't care for them. They're not especially functional because the holes are too large. I think Collecting Plastic pointed that out before on his channel. And even just to display, they're just way too kitschy. It feels like something that you would find in a roadside store, like off the highway or something. It just feels almost like an antique, and maybe that's what they were going for, but I don't like it. I don't want my collection looking like, you know, a visit to grandma's house. So I wish Funko would start to think more in terms of what is modern. Now, the Batman Villains box, I think, got a lot of people hyped up, and I think this was a very mixed box. Okay, Catwoman, they went with her classic design, which is fine. I think this is a good-looking Pop figure and one that should have been made, but I don't know if it was right for this box. And if they're going to do Catwoman, at least do the modern comic book version of her. Like I said, you know, I think they need to start thinking more in terms of modern. And also, I think she was an odd choice just because I don't really look at her so much as a villain. Yes, she does bad things. She is a thief, but I mean, a lot of times she's stealing from criminals, and she doesn't always just line her own pockets. Sometimes she actually does help out people that are struggling in her neighborhood. So she's almost a Robin Hood type of figure. And also she has a relationship with Batman, Bruce Wayne, you know, especially if you see what's going on in the comics right now. So I just thought she was an odd choice, and I think they could have, you know, Bane would have been amazing. When I saw Bane on the patch, it actually kind of twisted the knife into the wound that I was like, man, Bane would have been awesome. But at least we are getting the animated series version of Bane, which does look true to the comics as well. But I think they could have had a character like Zaz. Would have been a very dark and twisted character, you know, especially with the marks on his body representing how many victims he has. But I think Funko should not be afraid to go a little dark and twisted at times, especially since it's mainly adults buying these boxes. Ra's al Ghul is so important to Batman's lore. It's amazing that we don't have an awesome Ra's al Ghul Pop figure by now. I think that definitely should happen. And the way that he styles himself and everything, and the blades that he uses, yeah, he definitely could be a really cool Pop figure. And then just on a personal level, you know, really deep personal level, I really like the Mad Hatter. I don't know if I don't know how Disney feels about Mad Hatter as a villain, because he can be very twisted in the comics, but I do like the way that he's written, with the rhyming that he does, and just how quirky he is. I really liked when he was in The Secret Six, which is an amazing comic series. But yeah, I would really love if they did Mad Hatter, but like I said, I feel like they somewhat have been playing it safe. And the Dwarves, I was happy with the Dwarves. Again, it was an old school version of, you know, Harvey Dent, you know, Two-Face. But I like it. I just know it's not for everybody, though. The mug, this was my first time getting a mug, and I actually thought this mug worked because the Joker's design is just, it's a big difference between this and that mug that they did for the Doctor Strange box and the Collector Core, because that just looked like a disembodied head, which just looked weird. But the Joker is so stylized that I think this mug works, and it's one that I actually use just to like put candy in or whatever, so I'm fine with that. The hats, I have not changed my mind about the hats. When I look at the hats, I still feel like they are designed more in a way that would appeal to kids than adults, but of course that's personal taste. I feel like something else that Funko should do, I know it might be difficult in terms of the numbers, but I think that they should get people's sizes so that they can do fitted hats at least, you know, if they're going to do hats here and there. Or what they could do, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to say anything else about the other clothing options yet. I'm going to address that in just a moment here. But overall for this box, like I said, it was kind of a mixed box. I thought it was okay, but yeah, it could have been better. Now, again, like I said, these boxes have been very much classic focused, classic designs and everything. So when I was speculating on what they might do for the Superman box, I was thinking more in modern terms, and that's not where they went with it. So there was no villain, no supporting character. I've said before how I feel about that. Even though they're focusing on a hero, don't make every item about the hero. I think that makes the box so much less interesting, and Superman does have some cool villains. So it was disappointing not to see a villain here. At the same time, though, I actually did like the design of the Pop figure. I do still have that in my collection. It definitely reminds me of Christopher Reeve as Superman, so that's cool. The action figure, I kind of like the action figure too, and I actually still have that right now. I don't know how long I'll hang on to it, but I do like it, and I do like that it wasn't hole punched already. That was cool, and it, you know, it does represent his original design with the original symbol. So, you know, that's fair enough. The Pop figure is okay. I mean, the Pocket Pop figure, excuse me, is okay. The T-shirt wasn't blown away by it, you know, but yeah, it's just another box that I wouldn't like trash the box, but it was a bit underwhelming at the same time. Now, the Wonder Woman box, let me go ahead and jump right to the socks. I just have to do it. I feel like Funko needs to have an add-on option like Loot Crate does. I think it's Loot Crate that does it, where you can get an add-on to get some wearables. So if Funko wants to do, you know, wearables like hats, socks, armbands, whatever it may be, let that be an add-on option. I think t-shirts need to be given consistently, because pretty much everybody wears t-shirts, but not everybody wears hats, not everybody wears these colorful socks and things. So I think that's something that needs to change, needs to be dealt with in some way. That's just my, you know, opinion, of course. As far as the Pop figure is concerned, I think that pretty much every other Wonder Woman figure based off the movie is more interesting than this one. And when I first saw this one, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like immediately when I saw it, I was like, okay, it looks like she's playing around with a giant spaghetti noodle. It doesn't scream lasso of truth to me. And I think it really is the way that they designed it. They should have at least maybe had it looped off at the end, like she actually is about to grab somebody or something, you know, have it completely looped off. I just don't like the way that they handled it. And like I said, I think there are much better Wonder Woman figures out there, including the Justice League one that's about to come out is even a better option. I do like that they put a villain in this box, and also that there are two Pop figures, which you notice, I think you've noticed up to this point, Legion of Collectors very stingy, you know, with putting two Pop figures into a box. That's something else that needs to change. But I do like that villain, Dr. Poison, even though she didn't have much development within the movie. I still like that I think the actress did pretty well considering the small amount that she was given to work with. The Pint-Sized Hero, I always think of Pint-Sized Hero is an okay addition, but I passed on this box. I'm actually glad that I passed on this box, but the Dr. Poison figure, I may try to get at some point, either as a trade or just to buy through eBay, because I'm pretty sure it sells cheap. So, yeah, that really would have been the only item that I was really happy with if I had gotten this box. In order to address the latest box, I'm going to actually open up my own, which did just arrive. I definitely don't get mine as early as most people do. Okay, so this is going to be a very quick unboxing, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen these items already, but I do want to share my opinions. So, I'm going to go ahead and get off what we already know is up top, the patch and pin. Now, focusing on the patch first, I do think they did a great job with this patch. It is one of the better patches they've done, and that's across any of the boxes. And the pin is also well done. I would say Catwoman there with the diamond in the background, which of course is very fitting. So both of these were done very well for this particular box. Does not change my opinion though. I still feel like they've got to do something other than patches and pins. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. The comic, I actually will take a look at this comic and see what it's all about. The cover, I'm fine with the Pop covers. Doesn't really make a big difference to me. I know some people are not a fan, but I honestly don't understand why some people complain so much about them, because I know there are some people that never even read the comics, you know, so, and I mean, I don't think, regardless of what the cover is, that there's going to be trade value with it. So to me, it's not a big deal if they decide to do pop art. Okay, getting out the t-shirt here, which I think this is a really well done t-shirt from what I've seen, and I could definitely see myself wearing this on a regular basis. Okay, so of course it's a pop art style of the logo for the series. Yeah, I really do like this. I'm definitely gonna rock this on a regular, and I even like here, you know, the logo there. Okay, so you know this is very official. So yeah, I like the t-shirt a lot for this box. And some people are not so crazy about them steadily doing black t-shirts. Yeah, I do agree they do need to mix it up, but in this case, I mean, it's Batman, it's animated series, it fits. Okay, so definitely was looking forward to receiving this figure here, the Mr. Freeze figure, and I am going to get him out of the box here quickly. I definitely want to get a close look at it because I saw somebody who received their figures with scuffs on them, which you know, people, I'm gonna just say for all of us in general, that we really are too lenient with Funko. I think things that you ordered that just, you know, they're coming straight from the factory, you should not get anything that's damaged, you know, and something that obviously was not damaged in shipping. I mean, scuffs on the glass, or you know, the helmet here and things like that, that just shouldn't happen. It's inexcusable to me. So if you know, if I had been that person, I definitely would have contacted the company about that. I don't know what that individual decided to do, but I had a mailing issue before, and Legion of Collectors actually did replace the figures, which was nice of them. It was really the boxes that were just ruined, and again, it was a shipping issue, and I don't think it was on their part. I really do think it was the post office fault, but it was very cool of them to replace those figures. So I hope that other people have a good experience as well with Legion of Collectors customer service. Now, one of the design issues a lot of people have pointed out with this figure is that the neck is very slim, but I mean, looking at it now, you know, it's not as big of a deal as I thought initially. It still does look kind of weird. It makes it look like the head is not truly connected to the body. Yeah, so it would have been nicer if the neck was a little bit thicker there, but still, I'm very happy to have this figure. I think it's a good representation of the character. You know, it's somewhat simple, but that's basically the art style of the series. They didn't have like a lot of lines and stuff within their artwork. So yeah, I'm really happy with this pop figure. Long overdue to finally have a Mr. Freeze pop figure, and I still want to see a more modern take on him as well. Okay, so then the big item in here, and I do mean literally in terms of size, is this, you know, the Batmobile from the series, the Dwarves Ride. And I'm a fan of Dwarves Rides, so definitely was happy to see that this was going to be in the box. This got me really excited. Okay, and I think it looks well designed. I'm going to get this out here quickly as well. Let me take a look at the figure first, and look here, damage. Okay, and this is the same type of damage that the other person had. So I don't know what happened there, you know, and like I said, I really think that's like the same type of damage the other person had. So I don't know what happened there. If anybody else had that same sort of issue with yours, please let me know about it. Yeah, I'm definitely not happy about that. The rest of the figure looks fine. It is just that one area, which is really odd. Okay. And then let's look at the ride itself. Okay, very simple ride, but you know, it's true again to the animation style. And everything here looks smooth. I don't see any scrapes or anything. Okay, so this looks on point. Okay, figure does sit in there nicely. I think you have to kind of adjust the cape to get it in there just right. But yeah, it sits alright, but yeah, that is an eyesore. I mean, almost literally there, because it is right up under his eye. I'm not happy about that. So yeah, quality control, please step it up, Funko. That's just inexcusable to me. But overall, this box here, I would say, is a pretty solid box. I mean, you know, that's definitely gonna irk me for a while. And I may actually look into seeing if there's any chance of getting a replacement. I don't know, might be a slim chance there. But yeah, overall, I would say this is a solid box, and I hope that they continue to make sure that the value and everything is on point with the Legion of Collectors. But let's go ahead and keep things moving here and focus on their next theme. So yeah, before I get into the next theme, I do want to touch on their year one reward, or for people that signed up for a full year. They do get this reward here, which is a medal with Batman on one side, DC on the other. It doesn't quite feel like a reward to me. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I feel like anybody who's willing to sign up and pay for a full year deserves an exclusive Pop figure. That's just the way that I look at it. And I would not be upset, you know, for anybody that's able to get that, because they paid that money, you know. So a medal and, you know, these trophies that they do, it just feels kind of lame to me. I don't think it's like the greatest fan service, you know, to obviously people that are some of their biggest fans that go ahead and pay for a full year. So yeah, they need to step it up there, basically. Now, the next box is DC's Most Wanted, which I think definitely could be an interesting box. I do want to go ahead and say there are some characters that probably don't need to be included. I don't think Captain Cold really needs to be included. I do like his more, or actually I'll touch on that in a moment. Bane is already on the way. Let's keep that in mind. Scarecrow, we have a good figure on the way. Both of those being based off the animated series. But I don't think their comic designs are really different enough to warrant a separate figure. So that's why I think we shouldn't worry about them. Darkseid, I think, is fine for now. A lot of people are still trying to track down the original. And we know as the Justice League movie series progresses that we're going to get an updated Darkseid. So I don't think we need another one right now. Same thing goes with Bizarro. I don't know if they have any plans for him on film, but I actually like that original Bizarro they did. That's one I wouldn't mind having in my collection. So again, he's just one I don't feel needs to be made right now. I gotta say this though, please no Joker figure in this box. And if you're wondering why I'm saying this, I think if you've been with Funko long enough, you should know there is more than enough Joker out there. Plenty of Joker figures already, and you know, plenty of good ones. So I just don't think that we need another Joker figure right now. So if they want to give him some sort of representation in the box, that's cool. Maybe on the t-shirt or patch and pin, because we know there's going to be patch and pin. But I just don't think we need another Joker figure right now though. Now, getting into some characters I would like to see. Now, I said we don't really need Captain Cold, but what I mean by that is we don't need the classic idea of Captain Cold with the gun. Now, if they do Captain Cold, I believe this was his New 52 incarnation, where he actually had the power to freeze things without the gun, then that would be interesting. That could be cool, but no pun intended. But yeah, I don't think we need a Captain Cold that's too similar to what they did on the TV series. Darkseid, of course, is a major villain, very major villain, and he was just, you know, the major villain in Injustice 2. Kind of depends on how you look at it, though. He's one of the villains in Injustice 2, but he could be an interesting figure, but also he could be a big miss. So I have different feelings about that. You know, we'll see what happens down the line if they do get to him. Like I already said, Ra's al Ghul. I definitely think Ra's al Ghul is very deserving of a figure. Also, Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor in his power armor would be very cool. I don't think just Lex Luthor in a suit would be interesting, but him in his power armor, I would be happy to see that. And there is a mystery mini, which I was hoping to get. I got a lot of those DC mystery minis. Never managed to track down Lex Luthor though, but yeah, I do like him in his power armor overall. It's kind of silly, but kind of cool at the same time. Cheetah, I really do like Cheetah. I don't know if they'd be willing to do her right now, because they might want to wait and see if she's going to be in the next Wonder Woman movie and kind of wait on the figure for her. But I think they could do a classic one, and then when the movie rolls around, if she is in the movie, which I think she should be, then they could do a movie version of her. Doomsday definitely deserves some justice. Again, no pun intended, but Doomsday, I wasn't so crazy about that movie pop figure, so yeah, I would definitely like to see one that's true to the comics. And then this last character, a lot of you may not be familiar with him, but he is a Green Lantern villain, Atrocitus. I think Atrocitus was a very cool character within the Injustice 2 game. I'll admit, haven't really read up on him in the comics, but I liked him in the game, and I think he would make for a very cool looking figure. I know that's a very slim chance though. So out of all these characters here, Lex Luthor probably has a decent chance, maybe. I don't know. We'll see where they go with that. I think they're probably going to go with more of a street level villain, but we'll see what happens there. And I do want to hear from you all. What do you want to see from Legion of Collectors in the future? I think they really need to focus on some characters that haven't been shown much love, including some of the characters here like Deadman, Zatanna, Jonah Hex, Ragdoll. I really like Ragdoll. Is another character that was in the Secret Six, and Lobo. As a matter of fact, Lobo would be awesome in the Most Wanted box. Do I think it's going to happen? I seriously doubt it, but that would be incredible, really incredible. You know, we'll see what happens though. But yeah, Legion of Collectors, they have really got to give us more interesting characters. Stop just sticking to those main characters that we know from DC, and really branch out and show these other characters more love. So that's gonna do it for this video. Oh, excuse me. You hear my voice is starting to go, so it's good timing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And yes, I am going to do Smuggler's Bounty as well. That will be coming soon. I'm not going to say what day, but it will be pretty soon here. In fact, I've already started working on it. Yeah, so I do plan to do that. Disney Treasures, I'm not going to touch on anytime soon because they really are just starting up. But yeah, definitely give me your feedback. What do you think about Legion of Collectors and what they have done thus far, and what do you want to see in the future? I'm going to go ahead and rest my voice. But again, thank you all for watching. I'll talk to you all again real soon.